Like you said, Shit, man, that's just crazy. They wouldn't ban. I mean, this is like you don't want to do it versus Team Nemesis, man. That's so bad. Like, this is a good team to not ban against.
Yeah, I mean, it goes back to not only is this a new system, but also it's a nervous moment. I can't imagine what the comms were sounding like during that period. I know you've had experience on the big stage. You know, sometimes during these intense situations, you kind of just slip up, and it could result in some serious issues, such as missing a ban. And games can be won or lost in the ban phase. Do not let that slip. That is a fact, and I'm sure you know that as well.
No, that's a good point. I think with the ban system and stuff, I've never had to like worry about that as a pro player, and in Marvel Rivals, you do have to worry about it. So your brain kind of moves a little bit quicker on match day, right? Because there's so many things, like you said, nerves, all that stuff on your mind. And these pro players definitely, thinking about that sort of stuff. They have a captain, obviously, making those selections, but going into Krakoa, Ship, this will be our first map of the day, dude. So we're already going to start having that Jeff, potentially, no, sorry, speed boost out of spawn with the Jeff. Now switching back over to the Loki. Going to have that Ultron triple strategist composition, and for DarkZero, they're opting for a bit of a unique one too, man.
Yeah, you're actually running triple on both sides here. Oh, excuse me. Sorry, DarkZero not running triple. They're actually going to, they revert back. Just going to have the Cloak and Luna, but we will have triple on the opposition with Nemesis. And we are going to start off this fight here as Mello takes the height. Human Torch still an absolute threat in Season 2.5 with those movement techs. Very difficult to hit in the sky. Starting to put some pressure on the cap there. Going to keep the pace up and looking for some strong sources of damages. Locking down some zones on the right side. We do see Loki crystals popped here as they keep the pressure on. Diving in and just maintaining this pressure on point. Good dive. No luck on any value as they're going to reset and get some heals. And we are just kind of playing the pace game on the point right now.
Yeah, sort of back and forth. That Human Torch been a must pick across regions. Stasis as well onto that. Psylocke, make sure you prevent that person from being able to push, but both teams sort of filling each other out, but Kraz already out into Bruce Banner form. A little bit late ultimate as well coming through from Skiers, with DarkZero having full advantage is massive.
Yeah, Smash going to immediately take down Kraz right there, and we are going to see the dance floor popped up in the sky. Goes Meteor M, doesn't find value. It does not, as they still keep dancing on the point. Human Torch playing low ground to stay inside of that dance floor, keep the damage up now, as they do switch up at the end. Trying to keep it looks right now, odds are heavily back, and the side of Nemesis favor still maintaining this position, even a body down by utilizing that ult. It is going to be copied up and continued here, as we do see the immediate ult here by Psylocke with the dance of the butterfly. Does find one on Dinks. Mello gonna take one right back, and again back in Nemesis' favor as they are up in a number right now, still maintaining point, and they finally get the capture. What a hold before we start this this domination first point.
Yeah, Team Nemesis sort of whittling them down. DarkZero, unfortunately, weird spot for Smash to get in as well. It's tough. I wonder how that is on controller, trying to hit those headshots on the Psylocke. Meanwhile, Legendary coming from Chime, met by the Meteor M.
Yeah, up he goes. Do we find any value? Ricky going to take out Chime. That just goes to show you how strong Luna is as a hit scan right now. Just as threatening as some of these duelists at this range. Smash trying to find an off angle to make some play. Still maintaining that position very low there, getting down to 20. Is able to stay alive on this point right here. Mello keeping that pressure, maintaining the space. 32% using that Ultron. Heal is threatening. If you put it on a flyer, it enables your flyers because you can all play together and just juke around point, keeping your health topped off at all times. And here we go. Immediately going to see the fate of both, or excuse me, the eternal bond there on point. Hulk gonna go into the big floor, finds one in the back, and down goes Jabari. Nice play there by the combination. Mello gonna clean that up. Crazebang finds another. They take out Chime, and Nemesis showcasing how strong they are as a unit and just maintaining this pressure, but they will be down, actually even in ultimates in this next fight.
Yeah, right now, by the way, it's awesome to see a Madian swap over to that Ultron. Really one-trick it. I mean, new character, right? Brand new character to this game. Has been absolutely amazing. It has so much high skill cap in general, right? A lot of interesting techniques you could do with animation canceling, but overall the character is like that pseudo DPS. You see people in rank complain, hey, Ultron's up just because it's a new hero. They don't understand that maybe you lack a little bit of the healing, but you have a ton in terms of just sustain with that overhealth from the firewall, and then just the damage output that he provides.
Absolutely. It's just a conversation around playing the game a little differently. If you are running two strategists with an Ultron, you just got to play with that in mind. Maybe switch over to something like Magneto instead of playing something a little more brawly like Emma. So we do see some, Amadian tries to find value immediately. Gonna be another dance of the butterfly. No value there. Smash unable to find anything. Up in the sky we go with the meteor ram. Will it find value? Up very low at HP, not able to find anything, as we do lose a few here from DarkZero, not finding a single KO out of 3 ultimates used. Chime ready to go up with Galactic Legend, and he goes down as well as Amadian gets that pick. And no way, but Nemesis is not falling down at all here as they hold on to the point and put way too much pressure into DarkZero, who may have faltered without that ban.
Jeez, man. Yeah, Nemesis, you're right. It's the ban definitely going to potentially bite them in the butt for sure moving forward, and the Grove was absolute dominance, and that's tough because I don't even know if that's Human Torch's best round, right? There's like not a lot ton. I mean, there's some cover up in the sky, obviously. You have towards the point with that giant tree, but besides that, right, once you kind of clear those angles off, it shouldn't do too well. However, Human Torch, even after the nerfs, is still disgusting. That just goes to show that maybe that character was a little too strong. Like shit, like we saw Human Torch banned every single game. Now we're seeing Emma banned basically every single game, but Human Torch now back maybe in a more reasonable spot still is pretty good, right? We saw teams like FlyQuest before the buffs like a few months ago playing the heck out of Human Torch.
Yeah, I mean, he's
a solid character back then.
Yeah, he's up there in the conversation with the best flyer, right? Storm's still up there. Obviously, Storm incredibly strong right now, but Human Torch just has so much technique. You mentioned animation cancels and you know, head juking and such when you're using melee up in the sky. Just the sky's the limit when it comes to your ability with that character. And I think the more time you put on Torch, the cleaner you'll be. But not only the cleaner you'll be, it is so difficult to take him out of the sky, especially with that dive. As we are going to see a teleport here off the rip for DarkZero. Cyber going to get on this point, try to isolate somebody. Look for this Luna potentially. But we see a play, and they're going to go all in, but no, not able to find the pick just yet. Mellow up in the sky here again with that Ultron bot, just maintaining that drone's positioning and utilizing that heal and playing slow until he finds an available window to dive back in.
If look at Marvel Rivals, you really want to focus on positioning and Smash. Unfortunately, caught out yet again. Scatter able to find him. Like the abbreviation of his name, by the way, Scatter to Scatter Gengi. Now on the inside angle, right? Having ultimates, Nemesis goes aggressive. Skier tries to match it, but man, they're just losing member after member.
Yeah, Crazy doing a great job here with the Hulk, just keeping that position. Great tackle out of the sky. The combination of an immediate tackle post smack is something that it takes a little bit of practice with Hulk, but if you get that combination down, you can actually combo that, so they literally cannot escape you. And at this level of play, you'll see that very frequently. So Scatter keeping the space here. Mello doing the same thing, just playing off of Scatter. They do a great job comboing together and owning this space. No longer just kind of, what you'll see as you're climbing ladder is maybe not the team commitment following up on the space, and that results in your tanks not really getting a ton of value. But these teams understand that to another level, and it forces this team to try to find an off angle for entry, and this is just buying them time on point as Nemesis is creeping to 30-something%.
Yeah, they're just sort of dominating right now. I mean, they're just going to use ultimates aggressively. Amadian now goes in with his own ultimate, just forcing out backline. You kind of want to use it as a DPS, and oh my goodness, everybody else just falls, losing both supports. Both strategist players fall on DarkZero, and I mean, now absolute desperation now, right? 50% of the board has already been built on domination. It's over as fast as it starts, right? They may be speedrunning this at this point, bro. I mean, they might have like a potential 200-0, which is like a 6-minute game shit. Like, that is unbelievably quick.
Yeah, it is looking a little dicey right now. You mentioned Amadian going there with Ultron to pop that ultimate. That ultimate can be gained insanely quickly with Ultron just due to the sheer amount of burst damage he can do per shot. So Ultron, like you said, you may want to play with it a little more offensively, although it does have an insane healing numbers. It's something along the lines of 6 times the amount of invis. But still, that being said, just the raw damage and surprise damage that you can put into the backline, forcing out a bunch of cooldowns, like you just saw right there with Mello pulling out the dance floor, tries to find one. They do take out Chime together, and they are going to start dancing on the point as the fate of both worlds is being matched. Will we see any more value? I have Agamotto popped. Are they able to make a play off it? Cyber tried, but not going to be enough. Incredible work there for Nemesis to keep Mello up in that moment. That was surprising to me as Mello turns that around and takes out Smash immediately after, and the numbers are heavily in Nemesis's favor again.
Yeah, Mello's looking much improved right now, man. I mean, he's just been constantly a force to reckon with. Chime as well, going to fall to Scatter, and they're just falling one by one right now. Nemesis trying to get Mello running away from this Luna Snow in the backline, but man, they're just finding no purchase here. No space is provided for DarkZero as that Hulk is frozen, slows him down, but right now, they don't have any ultimates to control this point.
Yeah, Jabori with a good freeze there, but it's not going to be enough as Ricky takes out Cyber. Jabori goes down from Craze, and this is just one by one at this point, trying to hold on to the point. You mentioned 100-0, and it just ends like that. Really well done by Nemesis.
How fast was that game, Shib? How fast was that game? Oh no, I bet we jinxed it so hard. We said we're gonna have good games today. This is like oh man, Nemesis is just disgustingly good.
Yeah, I mean, you got to shake off the nerves, right? That could very well be what we see here. You know, if you want to see a match close, or if you're a Team Nemesis fan, you're thinking, hey, this is going to be a rinse repeat for match 2. But, you know, there is something to be said about the first game on the big stage being the first game of the day for the Americas region. And wow, look at these stat lines. Zamadian going to be the one with the most final hits there, looking really good on Ultron. Ultron incredibly powerful in the right hands. That triple strategist composition can get the job done, as you just see Loki able to pop off with those crystals, keep the team up in the moment. And then you've got,
from what we've seen so far in this tournament, Shiv, I mean, that is definitely not a bad ban either, right? But the prioritization of that ban is interesting, right?
Yeah, I'm surprised by that as well. But, you know, it just goes to what they've been scrimming with. We haven't seen Rocket, obviously Ricky floating Rocket right now. Haven't seen much of him in this tournament, if at all. Simply due to the fact that I believe that team up getting rid of the Z-Pack with Punisher kind of took him off the meta at this stage of play. Obviously, you got to get a little more intuitive with your ultimates. You got to put those ults, those Cosmic Yarn Amplifiers in more unique places, because if you just throw them in front of your team, they just get bursted, especially at this level of play in milliseconds. So definitely have been seeing a decline of him at this level of play, and we are seeing more Cloak and Dagger, especially as Magneto's banned, just because it kind of opens up that ultimate, just due to the fact that she can get that ultimate insanely quickly.
Yeah, Cloak and Dagger's been sort of power crept, right? It just feels like that character's just constantly getting better and better, and also people realizing how strong Terror Cape is. The ability to add damage amplification is just kind of crazy, and now coming out of spawn, the side of Team Nemesis walks out with a pretty unique composition here, right? They've got that Luna Snow, like you mentioned. No Hawkeye, though, to match it. Just that Wolverine in the Storm for a second. And for DarkZero, they're going to stick with Chime on the Human Torch, who goes down and immediately to Amadia.
Yeah, you see teams at this level of play try to hold at the door, because it guarantees 3 holds on point 1, which is what you want in nearly every single one of these push maps. So here we go off the rip. Amadian going to find Cyber. We'll have that teleport back, likely reset with the team. Wolverine out there from Mello trying to find a ton of value, as it will into triple tank like this as they run down the rest. And there's another, as we do push through early on. But like I said, here comes the team teleport to give them their second touch, and then they'll have likely one more positioning this, so it's a little more of an off angle. Sometimes you like to see that teleport to lock off some of the backline strategist lines of sight, but instead opt to put this in an off angle, as here we go. Chime on the high side trying to get built with this. Oh, and immediately we got to see the Hurricane coming out as Jabori goes down. Amadian finding one, and we are going to see the Cloak and Dagger off the rip. Eternal Bond on both sides on the floor, keeping everyone healthy, and it's all about ultimates now. Eye of Agamotto gets popped, gets a few. They find value, no. Dance floor's out. Fate of both worlds buying some time. Grace finds 2. Scatter gets another. Mellow and Amadian, and once again Nemesis just walking through DarkZero.
Yeah, it's a shame that Team Nemesis used both ultimates there for their side, but I mean, a fight win is a fight win, and you know, for Jibbery and DarkZero, he just was a little bit too far out of that Cloak and Dagger ultimate. At least they have the ultimate advantage coming back, but he's only at 90%, so they need to get that ultimate ASAP. Team Nemesis understanding, you know, the only way that DarkZero wins is if they get this Luna Snow ult off.
Yeah, it's all about this touch here. DarkZero does have ultimate advantage in this fight. Scatter does have the Meteor M, which is known to shut down some of these strategist backline ultimates. We see the dance floor out immediately. Up in the sky, down goes 1 as Amadian falls. Well done there by Chime. Make that 2 as Crazeman goes down. Let me hear 3 as Scatter falls from Skier, and that should be enough to wipe them back to the spawn door. And that's what you need to see as a DarkZero fan. If you want them to take this home, they got to keep this momentum forward, as we will have a few ultimates here to fight back on the next fight.
Yeah, smash off that Magneto now onto the Psylocke, looking pretty good as well. Getting off the triple Vanguard, going into more traditional 2-2-2. But now they will be down in ultimates, right? You have to worry about the side of Nemesis building up towards those strategist ultimates. Look, Jabori as well. Going to be down that dance floor, right? As these fights get extended, that's definitely scary, and as well as Mello, right, with that ultimate. Oh no, didn't get it off, just got stunned. Absolutely dipped into a corner. Cyber and team running him down. Great work from Z-Cube on the thing.
Yeah, you gotta, I mean, I believe, yeah, did shut down the ultimate as well. It is gonna be, yeah, no, you still hold on to it, so it wasn't activated fully, but great play there on the shutdown, and they're keeping this pressure. Skier finds Scatter again, and Chime, so holding on to this Galactic Legend. This is a very strong ultimate, usually countered by things like Magneto, so you do see Scatter holding on to that, ready for this next ult. Now we are gonna see a slight switch in here. Amadian back on Ultron. He was on it slightly here, but he does now. It is very close to ultimate. Galactic Legend goes up, and immediately shut down by that Meteor M, like I mentioned, from down town, not able to make it happen, but it did buy them a little bit of time, a little bit of a counter ult there, and just keeping the stalemate flowing. Ultimate advantage now back on the side of Nemesis.
The old Nemesis. I mean, this is their fight to win, but last time they got picked off in the neutral. We'll see if that happens again. Smash, meanwhile, on the Hella, looking towards that sky. Meanwhile, Cloak and Dagger ultimate counter Armadian. That's a decent trade, though, you'll take as Nemesis says, you know, as everybody knows, this ultimate's not that good. However, oh my goodness, Aya Wakamoto. Huge job there with the Aya Wakamoto there from Cyber. They're trading back and forth, though, shit. That's kind of working themselves back into it.
Yeah, Cyber's ult there was massive simply because they were not on the cloak ult from Dinks in that moment. So that did force out 2, and that keeps us back in their favor. Melo going to now have to use the teleport 2 seconds on to touch. And this is now a game as things are getting intense back and forth. Z-Cube going to find Dinks, and Z-Cube, much, I believe, a rookie for this team, but is playing pretty strong at this moment. Chime going to try to find this off angle very close to ult again, and that could be potentially round winning for them if they can hold on. Galactic Legend going to be popped shortly, waiting out this dance floor, waiting for the fate of both worlds to die down. Tries to find a little bit of healing, doesn't even need it. Has not been taken out slightly yet. Scatter going to find Z, and they're still holding on to this point. They managed to get it as Nemesis pushes through. I am surprised, as I thought Chime was getting that touch.
Yeah, he was definitely close, but man, Ludus no dance floor just lasts a little bit too long, man. I mean, that's just, he's like so long just controlling the point. Like waiting for his moment there on the other side was Chime, like you mentioned, and there was never a moment, right? If Ludus Snow decides a rave is happening on the point, like you can't do anything about it, buddy. Sorry, it's just a big L going to second phase.
Yeah, it's that difficulty with the decision making, right? It's talking about overcommitment of ultimates versus not utilizing the ultimate when need be. In that conversation with that Luna ult being there, I'm not sure it was useful, but you know, you can't rewind time. We're not Doctor Strange, and here comes Armadian trying to find some value up on the Meteor M again. Chime trying to find one, but not able to do so. We do see the Aya Wakamoto being popped. A few get taken out. Down goes Dinks. A smash gets a nice pick, and Chime going towards the back line. Human Torch very weak, is able to escape, and Chime did a good job here juking and cleaning up a couple of these KOs. Make that 2 as Chime is now showcasing what they can do on this Star-Lord.
Yeah, this is the thing about DarkZero that we talk about, right? It is such a highly mechanically skilled team, but do they have that synergy, that team synergy together? And that's why, you know, a lot of pros say, no, okay, DarkZero, you know, bad team, whatever, coming into the tournament. They're a good team. They're full of fantastic players, mechanically skilled players that just need time to kind of figure things out. And maybe this is their chance against Team Nemesis. With a minute and 6 seconds left, Nemesis comes back into the main side.
Yeah, exactly. I like what you said. They're a team that is definitely very strong. It's more so just experience at this level, and they have had it a few times, but we know that it becomes a little easier the more that you do it. Craze is going to get taken out there by Cyber. Cyber finds one, and at this point, numbers still back in DarkZero's favor. It's almost traded again, but Smash going to go and take out Mello. So once again, in the favor of DarkZero. Still holding on to this point, but there is only 40 seconds on, and ult advantage is on the side of Nemesis. They've got to have a big ult fight here and just get this thing shoving. His point 2 is very defense coded, in my opinion.
Yeah, I like how you mentioned that. Both Cloak and Daggers committing ultimates. We're going to see a lot of colors in the middle. We got purple, we got red. There's nobody can die in this basically for now as the supernova comes out.
Yeah, we are going to see the dance floor out, but just to shut down Mello here in the sky with Human Torch, trying to make the supernova get value. Ooh, but it does when a Armadian can follow up on stuff like that. Great Kraken impact to make it 3. A quad as he tries to land for 5. Armadian popping off there. Good follow-up right off of that Mello ultimate there on the Human Torch. Incredible combination with the supernova into Kraken impact.
Yeah, that was beautiful, and with the group damage from the ultimate, able to get that final blow, and now coming into it, DarkZero, they need this fight win. Meteor M versus Galactic Legend. Chime should have at least a few seconds to work with in this ultimate with the Meteor M to counter it.
Yeah, Scatter doing a great job of patience. Smash gonna find Mello early, and that is huge for the side of Dark. Numbers advantage with ult advantage now. They've got to capitalize. They want to get this thing shut down, but no. Almost traded back out, and ultimate gets popped as we see Cyber trying to get a few, and takes out 2. Goes for the Luna, make that 3, as we see DarkZero shutting this down on point 2. And will this round end in their favor? Oh, as a teleport comes through to keep the fight going. Now we see a Venom. Venom can stall like it is his job, because it is his job as they shove through. Down goes Scatter, and it's not going to be enough as DarkZero holds on before point 2.
2.
What a pick off there from Chime. Rather, I believe it was Smash, sorry, to find that elimination on the Winter Soldier, switching over to his arguably best hero. That's the thing about Smash. He's so good at Winter Soldier. and Hella as well, but specifically his Winter Soldier is how he got picked up for this team on Team Magnets. He was that guy that really was popping off on Winter Soldier, sort of carrying X-Team Magnets now, the side of DarkZero, with this brand new roster, and he's looked good right on that hero. That was a huge pickoff, and you saw, by the way, at the end there, sorry for hogging the mic here, Shiv, where Chime was holding onto that Galactic Legend, right? He was just waiting for it because they found that opening pick, and on the other side, right, that Meteor M is still available, so they have to sort of wait to use that ultimate, right? That Magneto player always uses his ultimate pretty much for that Star-Lord, right? For other heroes, right? Like Hela whenever she ultimates, right? There's a lot of ultimates that he's kind of saving onto. The problem is once you're down a member of your team, it's tough to come back, right? So the only way to win there is maybe using that Meteor like he did, and that's why we saw Chime maybe not commit the ultimate, knowing that they had so much pressure just having the man advantage.
Yeah, I love it. It's like a beautiful dance, right? We mentioned it's just who can make each other, who can force out the ultimate so you can counter it, or force out the defensive ultimate like Meteor M from something else so that you can use that Galactic Legend without any return. But we see Penny on the field right now as Scatter, and we haven't seen much of this in the tournament. The Rocket combination with Penny, those packs actually give you 50 over health. Something some people don't understand is actually it's a little more than Rocket's packs with the armor gives you 25. This will give you 50, so make sure you're picking those up early on in the fights. We see a lot of teams doing that, but it's not going to go in their favor as we lose Craze and Dinks instantaneously. But Scatter finds Jabari, a res there on Craze, and Scatter falls as well to Z-Cube. So very back and forth, but it looks like DarkZero are able to get through this beginning as they are heavily up in numbers now.
Yeah, I like that little bit of a cheese spot there and the knee from Chime to finish off Mello. We saw, I think it was it was either Oceanic region or Asia region they played Penny Parker, but here's a portal play to come back, by the way. 3 fights, man. You know better than me here, Shib, where we usually see 3 fights here on First Point Spider Island.
Yeah, I mean, this is that teleport play, and they elected to use it as more of a blocking the backline strategist line of sight. So I'd like to see Stranges do that simply because if you throw it behind the point and you fight people in front of point, they just simply can't look through it. They treat it like a wall. It's like a brick wall for the backline of strategists. So great play there as they are going to try to take the fight to them. It looks like Mello is going to find Chime, though, to level this out back in their favor, but ultimate advantage still heavily on the side of DarkZero, and they're about to have that Hurricane as well, the Fire Hurricane. We haven't seen much of that in this tournament either. So a lot of new stuff here as we are shoving through point 1.
Yeah, Mello with the dance of the butterflies, not able to find elimination because of Skier's ultimate. Now they're coming back in with momentum. Does Nemesis have an answer?
And here we go. A follow-up 2 go down. Make that 3 as Nemesis is showing up in this moment. We are going to see the dance floor out. Just give that damage boost. Holding on here on the point. Deciding to give him a little bit of time for the stagger, but unfortunately staggering while they're holding on to the point doesn't give you much value. But well done. Actually, excuse me, they were attacking, so very well done here by the side of Nightmare. And they are actually ultimate advantage back on the side of DZ.
Yeah, that's going to be a big fight for them, right? If they lose this one, it's going to look pretty hopeless. Meanwhile, DarkZero sort of walks in, forcing out that Psylocke location. That's huge. Amplifier on the opposite side. That ultimate's going to get deleted pretty quickly.
Yeah, it's the difficulty of what we talked about, the location, the placement of those ultimates are so strategic. They have to be so strategic or they just don't get the value they need. And that thing got bursted in seconds as they are trying to push this team out completely. Ooh, Scatter going to find Chime early on in this fight. Keep this in the side of Nemesis as we are driving them back into the spawn door here. Nemesis looking really clean back with ult advantage. Cyber actually holding on to this Strange. We could see an Eye of Agamotto towards the back line. Jabori with the dance. And I don't know if that is worth the attempt, but I like the idea. Just was not executed well enough as nobody was helping that right side. So we are going to be back on the side of defense as Nemesis is holding on, and there is another all pop for Scatter. Finds one down with Jabori. Cyber, and this looks like it may be held here halfway through, not even halfway through point 1.
Yeah, I mean, this is looking pretty brutal right now for DarkZero. It's tough. Mellophobia has impressed me, by the way. Switching over. Whoa, smash? Hello? Maybe hero swap? Maybe, I guess they forced the dance floor out, so that's fine. Worth it? Maybe?
Yeah, it could be worth it. Yeah, I don't mind it right now because now they're sitting on nothing besides Rocket here for Nemesis, which is, a chance for your team to get a win on this next fight. So I do understand it a little bit. Yeah, it may not have been as valuable as you'd like to see, but we do see Cyber taking out Mello early, and that's good for DarkZero. They need to keep this pressure up, but both sides held to the OT of point 1. We just got to get them around this corner. This is still a very defensive position down here, and we do see that Cosmic Yarn out now That's going to be enough. Great positioning there. They can't even look at it while it's back in that corner, and that's what you want to see if you have a rocket on your team.
Yeah, that's nice placement of that ultimate. Also up a person in this fight. DarkZero desperately needing these Stratus ultimates. They're against Nemesis and their own. They have them available. They also have a combo. Mellow falls solo, but he's been able to escape every time with his life. Last second.
Yeah, Chime holding on to this Kraken impact. You know it's going to be valuable here if he can get something cooking with Jabori's damage boost, and it does go out. It doesn't go out there. Hold on as they try to get a Via Agamotto. Nice freeze there. Really well done by Ricky to shut that down quickly. Cyber back at 50%. Still able to scatter. Going to find Smash there. And there is the clobbering time. Does it get any follow-up? Craze tries to make something happen. A ton of healing on the field right now. Just trying to buy time, hoping the heal was there, but no. Chime goes down, Jabori goes down, and Nemesis is looking incredibly strong once again, but no ults on either side, and it looks like overtime is getting ticked down, and that should be enough as Nemesis holds on and shuts them down 0.1.
Man, that was such an impressive hold there from Nemesis. It was so worrisome on their attack. Maybe Spider Islands, you talked about it, how it's a very defensive sided map. That was a great point, Shib, how, you know, it's just tough to be able to play offense, honestly. And once they were down at 2 minutes, there was a very crucial fight they lost. That sort of snowballed after that. And, you know, it was just because that tandem between both Mello and it looked like... I believe it was Krasmang. You know, just that tandem was every time Mello was on the flank looking to do something, right, constantly being in the thorn on the side, finding a pick. It seems like every time they would go look for that Psylocke, incoming Krasmang charging in, just disrupting